Okay, let me see if I can get down there. All right, so I just went and did cardio for the morning. I told you guys I'd get up. Um, we got up. Well, we went to bed about midnight-ish, maybe a little bit after. I woke up about 4:45. Decided we'll go get my cardio in for the day. That's all that I have on the docket. So I wanted to talk about two things real quick. Hopefully this isn't going to span very long, even though that teacher and me can talk for quite some time. So I want to talk about the mindset of the champion. And I also want to talk about your inner circle. You hear me refer to that quite frequently, my circle. So I'm going to talk about my circle first. So pretty much I have a group of people that I confide in. I give them advice. They give me advice. They're looking out for what's best for me. They're looking out for what's best, or we're looking out for what's best of them. We also tell each other the bad. We tell each other the good. We tell each other the potential that we have. In other words, we don't sugarcoat things. You'll find with me, I don't. There's no more time in the world. I used to a long time ago. Even with my students now, if something looks like garbage, I'm going to tell them it looks like garbage. Some young students have an issue with being told that something looks terrible, needs to be fixed. That being said, my inner circle right now, I've leaned on quite a bit. They know why. I've looked for direction, especially with what I talked about. Would have been last night, even though it just uploaded today. I haven't been sleeping very well, and I know some people are worried, and I really do appreciate the worry and all of the suggestions. I am looking into all of it at this point. So, with that being said, I also want to talk about the mindset of a champion. I find today's younger generation has a very, very hard time grasping this concept. The mindset of the champion, in my eyes, is you never fail unless you quit. Think about that for a minute. So you never fail unless you quit. No matter how many times when we're a kid we fall down on a bike, we get back up, we try it. We get back up, we try it. So therefore you never actually fail the process. Most of us. Okay? I learned this very early on. I was a competitive kid, lived in a competitive neighborhood. I played both hockey and baseball. I would say I was above average at both sports. But I've had to work. I was never talented enough to let my talent persevere. So I remember when I was probably 13 or 14 years old, I played baseball, and I was probably one of 15 kids to make an all-tournament team throughout the entire state to go play in a World Series in St. Louis. I did this for 2 years. The first year kind of came as a surprise. I think my coach was surprised by it as well. Anyway, long story short, that year went very well. We won the World Series with flying colors. I was then invited back the following year. I was a catcher, by the way. Obviously, you couldn't tell me my stature. Probably makes the most sense. But, so I came back the following year, and there was another catcher who gave me a run for my money. But I told myself that I'm going to keep working. And I did. I wasn't a delinquent per se, but I like to get in my fair share of trouble as a kid, especially at that age. So, basically, long story short, I lost my starting job to a young man, and perfectly fine. Like I said, I'm going to work hard. So it just so happened that it was a night where there was a glare, and it was it wasn't good for him. Let's just say he had 3 passed balls in 1 inning. This was the closest game of the whole tournament that we played. I believe we were tied going into the 6th inning, which normally in this tournament we cleaned up our competition. So long story short, he couldn't see the ball. They brought me in, and that's all that I needed. I ended up, I remember having a conversation with one of the parents, probably about 10 years ago. We had a reunion party at an establishment where he owns. And he said, you saved that tournament. And I'm like, wow, you're bringing stuff up that was, at that time, 10 years old. And because his son was pitching. And I'll never forget, his son threw a ball about 20 feet in front of home plate. And I had to block the ball. There were bases loaded. I was in the 5th inning. So, long story short with that, is that's all that I needed was that little window of opportunity to take what was mine back. So I took what was mine back. I think I ended up batting .479, 4 home runs, something like that, in that tournament, which I think I was in the top 2 or 3. So long story short, I never gave up. I kept moving forward. I find with today's generation, though, especially with a lot of the athletes that I come across, because I have a lot of athletes that come through my program, they always constantly tell me, well, since we're no good, I'm just going to quit. But you can't have that mindset. You can't have that mindset in anything that you do. I don't care what it is. That mindset is something that will not get you through life. Consistently thinking you're not good enough. No, think you're good enough. Work hard. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to mess up. Don't be afraid to fall down. Get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. Okay? People really have a hard time with this. I'll give you an instance, and obviously I go back to fitness quite a bit. So when let's do New Year's resolution, because this is the most common that I see. People tell me, well, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds. Okay, best of luck. What we end up getting is a person going from 0 to 100 in a matter of a day. So what I mean is now they're going to train 4 or 5 days a week, 45 minutes at a time, and then on top of that, they're going to do 45 minutes cardio a day. Well, that's great until they realize what they're getting into. I often have this with the people that I work with. They want to do more. That can't be the case. We have to have tools in the toolbox. So I remember I had a client or somebody that I work with. Like I said, I don't work with many. But he says, I'll do 45 minutes. I said, no, I want you only doing 30 at this point. Why? And I explained, I said, well, once your body adapts to what you're doing, the only way you can go is up. So you have to add more or take food away, one of the two. Oh, well, yeah, so we find what works best, and then we go from there. So we manipulate from what starts working. Once it slows down, we either add more or take away food, so on and so forth. It's really not a complicated process, but people that go 100, they end up faltering out, fizzling out really quickly. That's why I think it's 85% of New Year's resolutions don't make it. 85 or 90. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But with that said, if you continue to have that champion mindset in anything, not just fitness, you'll continue to move forward in life, and you'll be better off for it. So, like I said, sorry for my rant. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. So I will see you tomorrow.